Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Neglected by Everyone and Becomes the Incredible Hulk movie. Before we start, please go support Guerrero Legends for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei, after not possessing a Sacret Gear and being the youngest son of his family, is despised and hated by all his family and friends. But what they don't know is that this hatred will slowly turn into Issei's destructive force when he becomes Hulk, the Incredible Man. Prologue: Contempt. In one room, a chestnut tree was sleeping peacefully until someone knocked on the door very aggressively, waking him up suddenly, knowing that it was his mother who had come to wake him up. "Me, useless, get up now, you're going to be late for school," he said it reluctantly. "Issei, I'm coming," he said, somewhat scared. "Am I? I don't understand why I have to put up with a useless person like you." Those words made Issei very sad and began to shed many tears, since for as long as he can remember he has been despised by his entire family, and since he discovered the supernatural world with his sisters he was beaten and tortured more by his president Rias and her entourage almost all the time, and no matter what he did, no matter how intelligent he proved to be, he never obtained the affection of his parents. "Issei, why does this have to happen to me?" He said this as he left the room, but in doing so he ran into his sisters. "Elizabeth. I am." "Elizabeth, wow, but who do we have here?" "I am, but he's our useless brother." Issei just lowered his head as he listened to all the insults from his sisters and was pushed as a sign of bothering him, but then Issei's father appeared, who saw how they were bothering him, just giving a smile, pushing him, throwing him down the stairs. Look, the useless one fell." Everyone started laughing, but Issei couldn't take it anymore and ran out of there while his parents continued laughing, but his sisters, despite smiling, felt very bad deep down. Issei was running through the streets of Kwa while small tears began to fall down his face, but he was stopped by a white-haired girl with red eyes who looked at him with some sadness. Morgan, Issei-san, are you okay?" Issei didn't say anything and just hugged the girl tightly while crying. Feeling Issei's pain, she also hugged him and started crying with him. A few minutes later, Issei is seen in a dining room with the girl while they were accompanied by a black-haired girl. Became, did they bother you again, Issei?" Issei didn't say anything and just agreed. Became, I swear I'll make those bastards pay. But then she would receive a blow to the head from her mother, who had a tray with plates full of food in her other hand. Yuri, that language, girl, he said it while leaving the plates on the table. Became, but Mom, I think it's unfair that those idiots do those things to Issei. Yuri, Issei, you know very well that you can stay here if you want. Issei, I don't want to cause trouble for you, Yuri-san. Yuri, it's no problem, Issei. You're part of the family too. Those words made Issei start shedding tears of happiness, since they considered him part of the family. Issei, thank you very much, Yuri-san. Morgan, well, I think we better hurry up and go to the academy or we'll be late. The three young men agreed just as they ate faster, being watched by a smiling Yuri. 30 minutes later, the three could be seen walking through the streets of Kwa talking about trivial things until Issei barely managed to dodge a blow from I am, wow, it seems that the useless one managed to dodge my blow. Became, now what do you want? I am, you dare to speak like that to the Red Emperador Dragon Bearer. Morgan, and you dare to try to hit my friend and yell at the sister of the White Dragon Emperor's wielder. Elizabeth, so the white man chose a weak girl as a carrier. Became was going to shut his mouth with a punch, but Issei calmed them down, and they decided to keep walking, trying to ignore the things that were yelling at them. Upon reaching the academy, Became and Morgan retreated to their classroom while Issei went to the laboratory that the academy had. Issei, hello, Professor Mikasa. The aforementioned just turned around and smiled upon seeing who it was. Mikasa, hello, Issei. Issei, and how are things going with the gamma rays? Mikasa, everything is fine, we just need to fix a few more settings and that's it. Issei, perfect, since today is going to be the demonstration. Mikasa, you seem a little excited. Kiba would then enter, greeting Issei and Mikasa. Issei, what can I do for you, Kiba? Kiba, well, the president wants to see you. Issei, for what? Kiba, he didn't tell me anything. So both friends left the laboratory heading to the club where Rias and her entourage were waiting for them. Issei, hello President, what can I do for you? He couldn't finish when he received a strong blow from Kaneko, who had a sad face. Rias, Issei, tell me why your contracts aren't going up. Issei was going to speak but had received another blow from Iam, who had a big smile. Akino, Era, it seems that the brown-haired boy doesn't want to talk. Issei tried to speak again but received another blow from Elizabeth and a kick from Akino, who still electrocuted him, trying to make him scream, but Issei did not scream, making those from the club smile except Kiba and Kaneko, who helplessly watched that scene of torture for their friend. Chapter 1: The Accident. Issei was being held by magical chains while being tortured by the members of the Grammy clan, but there were two people who did not want to hurt him, which were Kiba and Kaneko, who also hit Issei, but they did not do it with enough force like the others. They were like that for about 50 minutes until the door opened abruptly, revealing Sona Citri with her entire entourage, who had a murderous aura and a sour face. Sona, angry, Rias, what do you think you're doing with your pawn? Rias, I'm punishing him for not fulfilling his duties. Tsubaki, just for that? Akino, Era, that's right. Do you have a problem with that? She asked with a crazy smile. Saji, we the student council will not tolerate it anymore, he said, unleashing Issei along with Kiba and Kaneko. Don't think so much just because you're the wielder of Vitra. Elizabeth, my sister is right. She is Drake's bearer, so don't think so hard. In Iam's mind space, you could see a red-haired girl with eyes of the same color, and she had a face of disappointment at her partner's behavior. Drake's thoughts, oh my friend, you disappoint me quite a bit. Tell me why you are doing so much harm to that poor boy. Outside of Iam's mind space, things were going from bad to worse as Saji wanted to attack Iam, and she looked at him with a defiant smile. At that point Morgan would arrive and see the condition in which he had burns, scars and fist marks, staring at the Grammy clan with great hatred, while in his mind space there was a white-haired girl with blue eyes who looked at Issei's state with great sadness. Albion, poor boy, what did he do to deserve this kind of torture? Outside of Morgan's mind space, she looked down on the Grammy girls with great contempt, but even more on those who called themselves Issei's sisters. Morgan wanted to rush at them and beat them up, but was stopped by Sona, who shook her head at her. Thus, the entire student council, along with Kiba, Kaneko, and a badly wounded Issei, left the occult club, leaving a smiling clan behind. In the student council, the entire Sona clan could be seen along with Kiba and Kaneko trying to cure Issei. Sona, I can't believe Rias is like this with Issei. Kaneko, he even forces us to hurt him too. Tsubaki, I can't stand seeing him like this anymore. Morgan, Issei, please, I don't want you to suffer anymore. Saji, Kiba, can you explain to us what happened? Kiba, the president asked me to go look for Issei-san, but when we arrived at the club they started beating him with their magic and Asia healed him so they could continue with the torture. Tsubaki, and you participated? Kaneko, Rias forced us. Kiba, since she has control of our pieces, but we were able to control our strength so as not to hurt him so badly. Became and Mikasa would enter very worried, but they were more worried when they saw the state of Issei, who had barely recovered from some wounds. Mikasa, what happened to Issei? Became, did those wretches hurt Issei? Everyone didn't say anything and just agreed. Became and Mikasa were filled with anger when they heard that, but the one who hated them the most was Morgan, who even had her white gauntlet materialize. 30 minutes later, the entire student council along with Became, Morgan, Kiba, Mikasa and Kaneko could be seen waiting for Issei to wake up. Issei would wake up and tried to get up but was again thrown onto the sofa by Became, Kaneko, Mikasa, Morgan and Sona, who were crying. Became, Issei, my Issei. Morgan, please don't risk your life like that again. Mikasa, please, if you die who would be by your side? Kaneko, Issei senpai. Sona, You are the only one who can understand me, and that is why I don't want you to go. Issei was very impressed to see the girls like that, and hearing everything they said made a little shine return to his eyes, and he began to shed many tears as he reciprocated the hug. After a couple of hours, Issei found himself in the laboratory modifying some things for the presentation he was going to make about gamma rays. Mikasa, everything is ready, my friend. Now we just have to test it. Issei, I'll be the one to prove it. That left Mikasa very shocked, since Issei wanted to be the test subject to verify if the machine worked. Mikasa, Issei, you're crazy. We don't know if it's dangerous or not. Issei, that's why this performance is here. Mikasa, Issei. Issei, Mikasa, please let me do it. Mikasa, with nothing else to say, nodded her head and let Issei take over. 15 minutes later, some students along with the teachers and also the student council and the occult club entered the laboratory where the presentation was going to be made. Mikasa, good afternoon, classmates and teachers who are with us today. Today we will begin the cure of uncontrolled diseases with the help of gamma rays, and the subject who will help us with this test will be Issei Hyudo. Issei would take off his lab coat and shirt, revealing all the scars he had thanks to the tortures of the occult club, leaving everyone present very impressed. Then Issei was tied to a chair while a very strange machine stood in front of him. Mikasa began to press some buttons, causing the machine to begin scanning Issei's body with a red light. Then Mikasa saw Issei, who nodded and pressed a button that said activate gamma rays. Mikasa pressed it, but before the process finished, Elizabeth put on a somewhat evil smile and turned to see her sister and club members, who nodded with the same smile. Elizabeth, with her magic, made the system fail with the intention of making them stop the presentation. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't like that, since without realizing it, he also damaged the equipment and caused the gamma rays to alter Issei's body, or rather awaken something that was inside him. Issei's mental space. A steel door could be seen flying out by a large being, with large muscles and a green color that began to grow. Outside of Issei's mind space, everyone was very worried about the brown-haired boy's health that they even called an ambulance. Sona, seeing that it was caused by magic, turned to look at the Gremry clan, who had a brood of concern when they saw that what they planned did not go as expected. Chapter 2, My Real Name. After the accident, they called an ambulance to take Issei and examine him to see if he suffered any damage while in the academy. More specifically, the student council was the Sona clan, accompanied by Serafal, Mikasa, Akame, Yuri, Morgan, Kaneko, Kiba, Searches, Graphia and Venelana. In front of them was the Rias clan, accompanied by Issei's parents and Zeoticus. Sona, do you have any idea what you just did? She said, trying to contain her desire to start a massacre in that place. Elizabeth, it wasn't my intention, I didn't think that. She couldn't finish when she was interrupted by her father, who had a smile on her face. P.I., you don't have to apologize, daughter, it's more for me that that bastard dies. But as he said that, he was sent flying by Xerxes, who landed a powerful blow on him. Xerxes, talk about Issei like that again and I swear I'll send you flying to China. Zeoticus, why do you care about that idiot? He's nothing but a useless bastard. Venelana, for your information, that useless guy called off the engagement with Razor. Am I? Oh yeah, he's nothing. My daughters are very special, since one is a drag bearer and the other has an Excalibur. Graphia, for your information, Issei has several ways to neutralize magical beings no matter how strong they are. Searches, and that's without a sacred gear or good magic manipulation. Sona, he just uses his mind. Serafal, I won't tolerate any more of Issei-sen being mistreated. Am I? What do you mean by that? Yuri, Issei-kun will come to live with us. That left the Gremry clan, Zeoticus and Issei's parents very impressed. Am I? No, we're not going to let them take that useless guy away. Akame, and why do they still want him in their house? So that they can continue to mistreat him and despise him as they always do. Morgan, I don't understand why they always treat him like he's garbage. Yuri, he was always a great, kind person who always cared about others. Those words would make Issei's parents and the Gremry girls react, since they were right. He always worried about them, but in the end they always hit him and made him feel less. Me, where is my son? She said with a brittle voice. I want to see my Oni-chan. Elizabeth, let us see it please. P.I. I want to ask for forgiveness for all the harm I have done to you. Serafal, it's too late now. Yuri-san has Issei's scriptures which makes him her son from now on, and as for you Gremory, Issei stops being your servant and fiancé from now on. That devastated the Gremory girls and Issei's parents, since due to their stupidity they lost the only person who loved them with all their hearts, but whom they never valued. While in the hospital, Issei was in a coma because he had absorbed a large amount of gamma radiation which could have killed him instantly, but it was the opposite since his scars healed at a great speed and his muscle mass increased. But what was really shocking was what was happening in his mind. Issei's mental space. He was slowly waking up and seemed to be in a somewhat strange room until he heard a voice next to him, and saw that it was an old man in scientist clothes. Subject: Your name is not Huda Issei, it is Boehner. Issei: Excuse me, could you repeat it to me? Subject: Your name is not Huda Issei, it's Boehner. Bruce Boehner. Issei: Who are you? Subject: It's normal that you don't remember me since I had died before you had memory, he said with a somewhat nostalgic smile. My name is David Boehner and I am your father. That left the brown-haired boy very impressed since the subject in front of him claimed to be his father. Issei: But my parents are the Hudu and they are not that good, let's say, he said it somewhat sadly. David, you're right, they are your parents but not biological. Issei: And tell me, why did you die? David: I was a scientist and I did the same thing as you, only your research is much more advanced than mine. I'm proud of you. But back to the main topic, I found out that they were using my research to make bioorganic weapons. I tried to destroy everything that was involved with my research, but they shot me in the heart before I could complete the job. Issei: But why do you say that I am more advanced with the investigation if everything was a disaster? David: No, you already had everything figured out, but that girl named Elizabeth sabotaged everything to stop your investigation, but everything went wrong for her. Issei: And why for her? I was the one who was affected. David: The gamma rays worked, all the scars you had because of them disappeared, your muscle mass increased, not to mention that you are more resistant than a normal human in every way. Issei: Why did he do that? He could die. Do they really despair of me so much that they want to see me dead? He asked while many tears came out of his eyes. David: It's very difficult, but you still have several people who still love you, he said, pointing to a picture showing all the people who cared about him. Now they are your family. Take good care of them. Issei: How can I take care of them? I'm nothing more than a simple man. David: You proved to be strong only by using your intelligence. In addition, the gamma rays not only improved your physical performance, but also awakened something that was deeply dormant within you. Issei: And what is it? David: You'll find out in time, but with this you can protect your friends. Issei: Thanks, Dad. David: Now wake up. In that, Issei woke up seeing that he was in a hospital while next to him were the girls who loved him along with Venelana and Grafia, deeply asleep and with a worried face. Chapter 3: The First Appearance of Hulk. Issei, when he woke up from that conversation he had with his father, since then he was in the hospital for a few weeks and being visited by Akame, Morgan, Yuri, Mikasa, and sometimes by Kiba, Kaneko, and the student council. They were visiting him and passing him the work and tasks they left so that he could catch up. When it was the day to discharge him, Yuri would talk to him about a very important subject, but he would wait until he got home. Yuri: And tell me, Issei, how do you feel? She asked with a beautiful smile. Issei: I feel better than before. Yuri: Really? I asked, somewhat surprised. Issei: That's right, I think the gamma rays did work in the end. Yuri: Why do you say that, Issei? I asked as I left the hospital. Issei: The scars I had thanks to the Gremory clan disappeared, apart from the fact that my muscle mass increased. Yuri: Now that you mention it, I see you've become more muscular, he said while comically checking Issei's body. Well then, I think it would be better if we went now. Should you stop being hungry? Issei: Of course, hee hee. So they both got into a taxi and headed to Yuri's house where a big surprise awaited Issei. When they arrived, they both got out of the taxi, but before entering, Yuri stopped Issei to talk to him. Yuri, Issei, I have to talk to you about something important. Issei, and what is it? Yuri, from now on you will live with us. Saying that, Akame, Morgan, Mikasa, Kiba, Kaneko, Sarah Fall, Xerxes, Grafia, Venilana and the student council stood at the entrance with a large sign that said, "Welcome to your new home, Issei-chan." Issei, seeing that, shed a few tears and hugged Yuri, who reciprocated the hug. Issei, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yuri, you don't have to thank Issei. The others also joined the hug, but they didn't know that they were being watched by Issei's ex-family and the occult club with looks that represented pain and regret. Issei was celebrating all day with his new family, feeling great happiness. But something inside him told him that that happiness was not going to last forever. As night fell, all the guests proceeded to retire to their homes. Issei went to his room, but upon arrival he would see Akame and Morgan in his bed in their pajamas. Issei, Akame, Morgan, what are you doing here? He asked with a slight blush. Morgan, well, we wanted to sleep with you. Akame, there's no problem, right? Issei didn't say anything and just gave a light sigh and then went to sleep next to his sisters, who had a smile of victory. The next morning, Issei could be seen walking with Morgan and Akame. The three of them were talking about trivial things until they were interrupted by Issei's ex-sisters. Elizabeth, Issei, wait. We want to talk to you. Issei wouldn't pay attention to him, and would continue walking, making his ex-sisters sad. Issei, wait please. Morgan would get involved with a serious and cold look. Morgan, looks like you want me to kick your red ass already. Get out of here, I have to talk to my brother. Akame, we're not going to let them get close to Issei. Elizabeth, get out of our way, she said, summoning her sword. But they would feel a killer instinct, and they saw that it was Issei who gave off that instinct. When they looked closely, they could see that his eyes for a moment changed to green, leaving them petrified, while Morgan and Akame went to him without realizing what happened. So the three of them went to their classroom, leaving the ex-sisters very sad since Issei hated them. The classes went normally, but from time to time he was bothered by the occultism club and his ex-sisters. Occult Club, 6:30 p.m. The Gremory girls and Issei's ex-sisters could be seen very depressed since they couldn't get close to him. Rias, we couldn't get close even for a damn second. Elizabeth, every second without my brother is a century of sadness. Why did we have to hurt him all that time? Why did we always have to mistreat him? Aquino, and we have also hurt him, and all he did was worry about us. Asia, what if we're going to talk to him now? I heard he stayed late at the lab. Rias, Asia is right, we have to go. But before anyone could stop, Iam's booster gear would materialize and she would begin to speak. Drake, buddy, don't go see your brother. Why? Drake, I feel like something bad is going to happen. I don't care, I'm going to go see him. Drake, damn, for once in your miserable life, listen to me. That surprised everyone but more, since she never thought Drake would talk to her like that. It's okay, partner. So the entire occult club made a magic circle to go to and Elizabeth's house. When they arrived, they saw the parents of the aforementioned girls, who had some photos. What happened? Why did you arrive earlier than usual? We can't answer now, mother. Drake, now tell me what's wrong. Drake, I'd better show you. By saying that, he created a hologram where Issei appeared in the laboratory, so everyone sat in the room watching what was happening. With Issei, he was looking at what seemed to be a sample of his blood, as he wanted to see why he didn't suffer any side effects, but he found nothing, only things that he couldn't understand, until all the things that the Gremory clan, his ex-sisters and his ex-parents did to him came to his mind. Issei, damn it, I still can't understand why those people treated me so badly. I just wanted them to be okay, and just for once I received some affection from them, but they only tortured me and despised me. He said it with great anger. Everyone in and Elizabeth's house felt so bad when they heard that they even started to cry, but they continued watching. With Issei, He began to scream with hatred and pain but quickly went out into the hallway since he had heard something, but when he saw that there was nothing he was going to return until the following happened. Everyone in the house, I and Elizabeth, were impressed and scared by how Issei transformed into that huge being and began to destroy everything, but they continued watching until they saw how Issei turned to look in a specific direction, seeing that it was Asia. Everyone in the house was more than shocked since they thought that Asia was coming with them, but in reality it was not like that. With Issei, he approached her little by little until he was a few centimeters away. Asia also approached him, seeing him clearly. Asia, Issei-san, is that you? I asked with great astonishment. Asia caressed his cheek and Issei just let her caress him until a memory came to mind, and that was when Asia began to torture him too. Flashback. Asia is seen in front of a dying Issei from so many blows he received from his companions. Asia, I never cared about you, you're just a useless scientist who won't achieve anything, she said while throwing holy water at him. End flashback. That memory made Issei angry and he abruptly walked away from Asia, scaring her and causing her to fall to the ground. Issei made a hole in the ceiling and then left through it, reaching the rooftop. Then he gave a loud scream that was heard throughout the city, and decided to leave, leaving Asia very sorry for all the harm she did to her first friend. Chapter 4: The Renegade Demons Gamma. After seeing what happened at the academy and how Issei treated Asia, the Gremry girls and Issei's ex-parents only had one thing on their minds. It would be very dangerous to be near him. So they were thinking of something to talk to him, and tried to convince him to return with them, but they always got the same result. They had to face Issei's new family, including the Citri clan and maybe his classmates Kaneko and Kiba. Meanwhile, in a restaurant were Yuri, Akame, Morgan, Mikasa, Kaneko and Sona talking about trivial things. Sona, did they really want to cure various diseases with gamma rays? Mikasa, that's right, but as you saw, Elizabeth had to ruin everything with her magic. Yuri, at least Issei won't suffer anymore. Morgan, that's right. Akame, and by the way, where is it? Kaneko, he stayed in his lab. He said he had to run some tests to see if gamma rays have any side effects. At that, Sona received a call. She would see who it was, observing that it was Tsubaki. Sona, what's wrong, Tsubaki? Tsubaki, Sona, you have to come quickly. Sona, why? Tsubaki, the academy is destroyed. That shocked Sona and the others, who heard what she said, and without further ado they got up and ran out of the restaurant to the academy. When they arrived they saw Sona's entourage and approached them. Akame, tell me what happened? Morgan, and where is Issei? Saji, when we arrived everything was destroyed, but especially the laboratories. Tsubaki, and as for your project, Mikasa, he said, pointing to a place. Everyone turned their gaze and were surprised to see the gamma sphere split in half. Mikasa, but how? Saji, we don't know. Tsubaki, ace for Issei. There was no trace of him. We only managed to find this, she said, showing Issei's watch and wallet. Everyone was very worried, but Yuri started to run towards his house, being followed by the others, leaving Saji behind since he still wanted to investigate what happened. After a few minutes you could see the girls very tired in front of the house. Yuri, please Issei, I hope you are here. So they all proceeded to enter and began to check each room until Akame found it. Akame, I found it. They all went to where Akame was and managed to see a deeply asleep and somewhat sweaty Issei, but what stood out most was that he was not wearing a shirt and his pants were very torn. Morgan, what could have happened to him? Morgan's mind space. Albion watched the brown-haired boy intently, still trembling. Albion, what is this great power that I feel in him? Could it be that the gamma rays awakened something inside him? They would then hear Tsubaki speaking to them. They all went down and went with Tsubaki, but when they were with her they saw the door collapsed and a large hole, leaving them a little worried. The next morning, Issei could be seen waking up, and next to him were not only Morgan and Akame but also Sona, who had stayed to sleep with them. Issei moved as safely as possible so as not to wake them up and went down to the kitchen where he met up with Yuri. Issei, hello mom. Yuri, hello Issei. Issei, hey, where's my academy uniform? Yuri, Don't you know what happened? Issei, what thing? Yuri, the academy is under repair and you no longer have a uniform. That left Issei somewhat puzzled, but he decided to put it aside to start eating breakfast. But Yuri suspected that something bad was happening to her son. Around 5 weeks passed and he already had a large part of the academy set up, and during that time Issei spent more time with his new family. Meanwhile, the Gremry clan, not counting Kiba and Kaneko, devised a plan to get Issei to return to them, but what they didn't know was that chaos was going to break out very soon. In a laboratory, many supernatural beings could be seen, more specifically renegade demons in cages, while around them were many animals and blood samples that said gamma test strength 14 1 16%, strength 18 5 20%, etc. In that a subject would appear and take 3 vials of the gamma tests, and disperse them in the cages of 3 renegade demons beginning to mutate. The subject laughed in a demented way while watching how the renegade demons mutated. Chapter 5: An Unexpected Encounter. 3 weeks had passed and the academy was already repaired, and even some things had been remodeled, such as the occult club, which was now a little bigger and more luxurious, and some buildings that were no longer used were remodeled and new laboratories were put in, but the one that stood out the most was the Gamma Ray Laboratory. To say that the students were amazed was an understatement. Issei, wow, I never thought they were going to remodel it. Became, to be honest, I like the remodel. Morgan, same here. So the 3 of them proceeded to enter the academy, meeting up with Kiba and Kaneko. Kiba, hello. Issei, hello Kiba, hello Kaneko. Kaneko, how have you been? Morgan, we've been doing great, and you? Kiba, same. At that point Mikasa would approach them with a smile. Mikasa, hello friends. All hello? Mikasa, hey Issei, can you come with me to the lab? I want to show you something. Issei, of course. So they both retired to the laboratory, being watched by Kiba, who had a smile, and the girls, who were very jealous. Once in the laboratory, Issei was surprised by the remodeling. Issei, well, Mikasa loves me. He couldn't finish because Mikasa gave him a passionate kiss and he reciprocated it. A few minutes passed until they separated. Issei, and why was that? Mikasa, because I wanted to show you my love for you, Issei. Issei, Mikasa, I love you too, but I have feelings for the others too, and I don't know if. Mikasa, SHHHH, we already talked about it, and we have reached an agreement. Issei, and that would be? Mikasa, share your love. Issei just smiled and gave Mikasa another kiss, but they were watched by the Gremry girls again from a sphere. I am that hitch. Elizabeth, how dare you kiss my little brother? Rias, I swear I'll kill that damn thing and I'll claim my fiancé. Aquino, Era, I think I'll have the pleasure of having a new toy. Asia, that girl is not worthy of being with Issei-san. Back with Issei, he was with Mikasa talking about normal things until they touched on the subject of gamma rays. Mikasa, and tell me Issei, have you already seen if there are any side effects on you? Issei, I don't remember anything I did that day. Mikasa, well, I think it would be better if we go to class. So they both went to their respective classrooms to begin classes, but were watched by a subject with a sickly smile. I'll see you later, nephew. Thus he proceeded to leave the place. While Issei feels that very soon he would have to deal with someone but decided to put it aside and concentrate on his studies, everything was peace and quiet until break time. On the roof of the academy, Issei was sitting leaning against the wall while thinking. Issei's thoughts. Because I don't remember what happened that day, and not only that I have fragments of some memories from when I was a child, but what could it be? His thoughts would be interrupted by a magic circle that he recognized very well, putting himself on guard. In the magic circle came Rias and her entourage, not counting Kaneko and Kiba. Rias, hello Issei. Issei, now what do you want? We just want to talk. Issei, so you want to talk? Elizabeth, please brother. Issei, I'm not your brother, I never was and I will never be. Elizabeth just started crying while Ayama tried to comfort her. Issei, why did you say that? Issei, because it's the truth, now leave me alone, he said, starting to walk, but Asia got in his way. Asia, Issei-san, you were my first friend, so I asked you to give us another chance. Issei was already starting to lose his patience, but no one noticed except Drake. Drake, damn, if they keep going like this, they might transform again. Issei, you're already making me angry. Akino, Issei-kun, please listen to us. But in that, Akino could see Issei's eyes beginning to change color, alarming her since she knew that he was beginning to transform. In that would arrive Morgan, Akane, Kiba, and Kaneko. Morgan, get away from Issei-chan, he said while hitting Akino. Akane summoned her sword and tried to slash Elizabeth, but she managed to block it with her Excalibur. And what are you doing here? She asked, summoning her gauntlet. Morgan, we came to take care of Issei-chan, he said, taking out his wings as well as his white gauntlet. But at that point both celestial dragons would have a mental conversation. Drake, Albion, you feel it too, right? Albion, that's right, this boy's power is changing drastically. Drake, and I only detect pure anger in that energy. Albion, get your companions out of here. We'll take care of it. Drake, I wanted to help, he said with a pout. Albion, just do it, silly. Drake didn't say anything and made a magic circle, taking all the girls from the club. Morgan, Issei, are you okay? Issei slowly began to calm down, and his eyes returned to normal. Issei, I'm fine. Everyone was about to leave the roof, but then they heard a voice and saw an old man behind them. It's been a long time, nephew. Chapter 6, My Family in Danger? Issei and the girls were looking at the guy who had appeared out of nowhere and claimed to be their uncle. Issei, you are my uncle? Ben, that's Issei, or more like Bruce. Morgan, so that's your real name, Issei. Akane, and what did you come for? Ben, I want to talk to my nephew for a moment. So they both left the place, leaving the girls somewhat confused by the sudden appearance of Issei's uncle. Issei, so, what do you want to talk about? Ben, I know what you're capable of, Bruce. That anger you're holding back is trying to get out and be free. Issei, what are you talking about? Ben, you are more than you appear to be. At that point Issei's cell phone would ring, seeing that it was Mikasa who was calling. Issei was going to answer, but Ben would take his hand so he wouldn't. Ben, no, she's just using you like the others. They're no different than that Gremory and her entourage. Issei, I don't care if you're my uncle, but I'm not going to let you talk about them like that, so get out, he shouted as his eyes began to change color. Ben, okay, I'll go, but don't think that this will stay like this. Saying that, he disappeared, leaving Issei very confused, but he decided to leave it aside and return to the girls. Days passed and everything was calm, but Issei felt something inside him that wanted to come out every time he got angry, even if it was a little. But one night something would happen that no one thought would happen. With Ben, he was working in his laboratory until he decided to release some rather large and dangerous beings, and they found what appeared to be a blouse. Ben, go. Find and kill her and her friends. Saying that, the creatures went out in search of the owner of that blouse to kill her and her company. With Issei, he was alone at home while thinking about what was happening until he heard the sound of a cell phone and saw that it was an unknown number. Issei, hello? Ben, did you think you could get rid of me just like that? Issei was surprised to hear the voice, but then he saw some hooded men through the window, while an exorcist began to walk to the entrance. Issei, okay. Tell me what you want. Ben, just to get you to let out all that anger you've been holding back. Issei, what do you mean? Ben, you thought you were an unremarkable kid. You're wrong. Issei, what are you talking about? Ben, inside this a creature capable of doing extraordinary things. You remember your experiment. Issei heard that he remembered the Gamma experiment he did when his sister ruined everything. Issei, yes, I remember it very well. Ben, well, thanks to that thing inside you managed to awaken, and now you are capable of doing incredible things. But those people you call family are standing in the way of your destiny, so I took the liberty of sending someone to get rid of them. Issei, bastard, what have you done? Ben, I sent some of my colleagues. Some renegade friends, and they'll finish them off when they see them. Issei, you're not crazy, I won't leave you. Issei hung up the call and proceeded to go to the main door, forgetting that the subjects and the exorcist were outside. When he tried to open the door, it was sent flying by a small explosion. Issei tried to get up, but the exorcist held him by the hair. Fred, look who we have here. It's my old prey, he said with his crazy smile. Issei, Fred, I don't have time for you right now. Fred, what a pity, because you're not going anywhere, he said, grabbing the brown-haired boy tighter. Issei, I have to go get them, they're in danger, AGHR. Fred, you're not going anywhere, you bastard. Issei tried to hit him, but Fred would grab his hand and throw him to the ground, hitting him. Issei, Fred, you're making me angry, he said it with a deeper voice. Fred, no way. Issei would grab Fred's hand and twist it as his skin began to change color, surprising Fred. Issei sent him flying against a chair, and his skin changed to green as he began to increase in size, turning into Hulk. Fred was very scared, but saw that Hulk began to growl with hatred at him, thus making him fly outside where the fallen angels were. Hulk gave a loud scream and the fallen began to attack him, but their attacks were of no use. Hulk took Fred and threw him against one while he hit the other two, knocking them out, so Hulk jumped to reach his destination. Kaniko's house. Chapter 7, Hulk to the rescue. After Hulk left the Caicus Angels out of combat, Fred proceeded to jump to get to Kaniko's house, since her sisters and her friend Mikasa were there, and at this moment they were in danger. While at Kaniko's house, Mikasa was teaching the girls about gamma radiation, since she realized that they were really retarded in chemistry and physics, so she decided to teach them her favorite subject about gamma ray radiation. Kaniko, so gamma rays are a type of electromagnetic radiation? Mikasa, that's right, Kaniko. Morgan, and it's usually produced by radioactive elements, or by subatomic processes like the annihilation of a positron-electron pair. Became, made up of photons. Mikasa, you guys get the vibe. Well then, let's continue with the class. Kaniko, Morgan and Became just agreed and paid attention to everything Mikasa was saying, explaining more about gamma rays for a few minutes until they heard something outside Mikasa's house. The girls went out to see what it was, but at first they didn't see anything until they heard the trees twisting again. Mikasa, what was that? Morgan, I'd better put some light on, he said, taking out his wings. At that point the place would light up a little and they could see the figure of an enormous being, although they could not distinguish it very well since its face was covered by the branch of a tree. Kaniko, what is that? She asked, impressed. The being came out of the trees and the girls were on guard, but they were shocked to see that the being was Issei. Morgan, Issei? Became, but what happened to you? Kaniko, your workshop. Mikasa, it was because. She couldn't finish because Hulk picked them up and put them on top of a truck. The girls began to caress his cheek while he let them, but then they heard something approaching at maximum speed. Then they turned to look at the forest and saw beings almost the same size as Hulk. Note, imagine that there are 3 and not 2. The girls were very scared seeing how dark they are, but Hulk grabbed them and put them in the truck and gave a growl as a sign of being ready for a fight. The monsters also grew and then they lunged at Hulk. He punched one, kicked another and grabbed the last one and threw him against a tree. Hulk grabbed a log and tried to hit one, but he dodged it. The other was going to bite him from behind, but Hulk intercepted him with the log, breaking it. The one who was sent flying against the tree got up and went to try to hurt the girls. Mikasa, for God's sake. Morgan, Albion the Bland's breaker. Albion, I can't, partner, since you can hurt your friends with the energy wave that it expels. Became, get out of here, you dirty animal, she said, stabbing him with her sword, but saw that it didn't even pierce him. Kaniko, get out of here, she said, hitting him, making him step back. When the creature tried to go on the attack again, Hulk hit him with the other monster's body but was tackled by the bigger one, throwing him to the ground and starting to bite him. Hulk hit him to make him let go, but the other two joined him, taking him a little away from the girls. Mikasa, let's go home quickly. So the girls went back to the house and went to a window to watch the fight. Morgan, we have to help him. Became, those things are strong, Morgan. I think that not even you and your Bland's breaker can at least face them. Morgan, And what do we do? Kaneko, trusting that Issei-senpai will emerge victorious. In the fight, Hulk had given a bite to the biggest monster and then threw him against the other one that was a little fatter, but the thinner one bit his crotch. Hulk got angry and grabbed the monster's neck and slapped him, then grabbed him and threw him against the biggest one, and that the fatter one got behind him and the biggest one in front of him. So they both jumped towards him but took Hulk a big jump, causing these two to collide, and he stayed on top of a tree. In that the two largest creatures climbed up the trees that were on the sides and both threw themselves against Hulk again, falling to the ground a few meters from Mikasa's house. Mikasa, no way. Hulk got up and punched the biggest monster in the face to stop biting him. Then the skinniest one entered the house and began stalking the girls while they got into a fighting stance. Hulk grabbed the fattest one and threw him to the ground and crushed him, leaving only dust. Then he saw how the skinniest one was going to attack the girls, and with one jump he crushed him, taking almost half of the house. The girls only saw how Hulk protected them, but then the biggest one attacked him from behind, making a large wound, scaring the girls a lot, but Hulk grabbed him and split him in half. Mikasa, Issei, let me see the wound. Hulk listened and turned around, revealing the large wound on his back, but they were shocked to see that it was healing quickly. Hulk began to feel dizzy and left the house to go to a small lake that was there. The girls did not understand what was happening to him, but they saw how little by little he was shrinking to the size of a normal person, and his skin also changed to a normal one, seeing that he was now Issei Hiro again. The girls without hesitation ran towards him and hugged him tightly while crying, and Issei only hugged them as well while a small smile formed on his face. Chapter 8: A Green Guardian Angel is Born. After the fight he had with the monsters that tried to kill Mikasa and the rest of the girls, Issei was lying on a sofa sleeping while the girls were around him as they began to examine him. Kaneko, but how can Senpai become like that? Akame, could it be that he has a Sacred Gear? Morgan, I don't think so, I've never seen anything like it. At that Mikasa takes some papers that had information about Issei's studies. Mikasa, whatever it was caused by gamma rays. Akame, so the gamma rays caused Issei to transform into that. That's when Morgan's dragon wings materialize. Albion, you're wrong, Akame, the gamma rays didn't do that, he said, drawing everyone's attention. Kaneko, so what did they do to my senpai? Albion, they just woke up what was already there. Mikasa, what is it? She asked while Albion remained silent. Morgan, wake up that Albion? Tell us. Albion. To him, his true self, he said it while the others only saw Issei, who was still sleeping. After that about 2 weeks passed, and during that time Issei stayed at Mikasa's house to continue with the research on his new power, and was always visited by Kiba, Kaneko, his new family, and the student council, and also during that time the girls of the occult club tried to find out where Issei lived and received a small visit from some envoys of the church, having the same conversation from the original story, and the same humiliation, only this time their opponents were Elizabeth and Iam. Now the envoys of the church walked all over the city in search of the holy swords that were stolen. Irina, okay, where are we going now? Zenobia. Zenobia, to get some money, she said, a little angry. Irina, hey, that was a very nice painting. Zenobia, aha, yes. After that little conversation until they were both stopped by a certain black-haired scientist. Mikasa, Irina, is that really you? She asked happily while carrying some bags. Irina, Mikasa, he said happily while hugging her. Mikasa, and how she was a friend. Irina, very well. And you? But at that Zenobia would clear her throat, drawing the attention of the orange-haired and black-haired girl. Zenobia, nice to meet you, my name is Zenobia Korda. Mikasa, the pleasure is mine. Irina, and what have you done lately? Mikasa, well, I've been working with Issei on our gamma ray project. Irina, did you say Issei? Where is he? Mikasa, in my house. Zenobia, can you take us? Mikasa just agreed, and the three of them started walking until they reached Mikasa's home. When the three of them arrived, they would sit on one of the armchairs until they waited for Issei. With Issei, he was transformed into Hulk and fought with robots almost the same size as him, and was accompanied by Morgan and Akame. Became. Morgan back, he said while cutting a robot in half. Morgan, who was wearing his armor, would kick a robot, destroying it. Hulk would punch a robot, causing it to collide with 3 others. Then he grabbed another one and split it in half. But then he saw that one was going to attack Became from behind, so he jumped and landed on top of it, crushing it. After a few minutes you could see Became, Morgan and Issei returning to Mikasa's house. Became, now the training was entertaining, don't you think? Morgan, that's right, and the truth is that Issei has already progressed with his power. Issei, just a little. They then entered the house, seeing Mikasa talking to Zenobia and Irina. Mikasa, oh, they're here, she said, and then blushed when she saw that he didn't have a shirt on and that his pants were torn. Irina and Zenobia just kept quiet with their eyes down so they wouldn't notice their blush. Issei, Mikasa, who are they? At that Irina looks up, noticing that she was a little upset and had a pout. Irina, you're bad, Issei, don't you remember your old friend anymore? Issei, seeing her, remembered a certain girl who dressed like a man. Issei, is that you, Irina? He said with a smile. Irina just stood up and threw herself at Issei as she began to cry with joy. Irina, please forgive me, I should have taken you with me, I should have done it. Issei, calm down, everything's okay. You don't have to apologize, nor is it your fault, he said, hugging her while stroking her head to calm her down. Everything was seen by the girls, who were a little jealous, but at the same time they were happy because they saw that little by little they were healing the wounds that Issei had in his heart. Chapter 9: The Beginning of the Avengers. Everyone was gathered in Mikasa's living room as they talked about normal topics and watched as Irina and Zenobia ate as if their lives depended on it. Mikasa, it's obvious that they haven't eaten anything since they arrived. Morgan, they're not supposed to be given money when they go on missions. Zenobia, that's right, but here my friend spent it on a painting that made no sense at all. Irina, I already told you that painting was very beautiful. Became, and what are some church envoys doing here in the city? Zenobia, we've come to investigate the theft of some Excalibur. Morgan, seriously, I heard that the churches where those fragments were had been attacked. Became, but do you really think the guilt is in the city? Irina, that's right, he's a Grigori cadre named Kokabile. Mikasa, Kokabile? Issei, one of the strongest cadres. Apart from crazy, he said, making everyone put on a poker face, but do you really plan to face him? Zenobia, it's our duty. Morgan, at least let us help you. Irina, but they will surely get hurt, and to tell the truth I don't want Issei to get hurt. Became, I have superhuman abilities in addition to having great skills with my katana. Morgan, I am the bearer of the dividend divide. Zenobia, we could really use your help, she said, looking at them analytically. But what about you, she said, pointing at Issei. As I see it, you're just a normal human. Irina, Zenobia, don't be a. Issei, calm down, Irina, let me defend myself, he said with a mocking smile. Saying that, he left the house followed by the girls. Issei proceeded to take off his shirt, then his shoes, while he stood a little distance away from them. Issei, now this human will teach you what a simple human is capable of, he said, and then closed his eyes. The exorcists didn't know what he was doing, but they saw that the other girls had a smile, so they paid attention. Issei clenched his fist for a few seconds, only to then open it in the shape of a palm. He opened his eyes and Aaron turned a bright green. Then he began to undergo a transformation that surprised the church's envoys as they saw that his muscles increased as well as his height, and his skin turned green, and in the end they were speechless as in front of them was the Hulk himself. Irina, what, that was the only thing I could say because of the big demonstration. Mikasa, Issei was exposed to gamma rays which gave him that form. Zenobia, gamma rays? Morgan, gamma rays are a type of electromagnetic radiation, and therefore made up of photons, generally produced by radioactive elements, or by subatomic processes such as the annihilation of a positron-electron pair. Mikasa, it seems that what I taught you helped you, he said, seeing Morgan in a lab coat, and her chest puffed out with pride. Zenobia, well, he can help us too. Hulk, I'm very eager to crush a cadre, he said with a smile, while bumping his fist into his palm. Irina, Wow, Issei cadre is very strong, maybe even stronger than Became. Believe me, we train every day and every second during the fight. His strength and resistance increase without any limit. Hulk, if we're going to work together, we need to have a team name, he said as they approached the girls. Morgan, you're right, something that is eye-catching and makes all the villains tremble just by hearing it. Zenobia, I don't know, maybe we'll just work together during this mission. Became, oh come on, wouldn't you like to be with people who understand you, friend? She said while Morgan, Mikasa and Hulk smiled. Zenobia looked at his partner/friend who gave a smile in approval. The blue-haired girl gave a smile and then nodded. Mikasa, well, what name would it be? She asked as she approached Zenobia to bring her closer to the others. Hulk, Irina, do you remember our favorite game when we were kids? Irina, let me remember, she said while putting her finger on her chin. Yes, the one where we were heroes and we fought against evil. Hulk, that's right, and you remember the name we used to call each other? Irina, if I remember correctly, I think it was the Avengers. Hulk, that will be our team name, we just have to tell Kiba and Saji about this. Became, you're right. Mikasa, then let's say no more. Morgan, from now on, you will know us, as he said, and then took out his dragon wings, while the exorcists took out their swords as well as Became and Mikasa stood next to Hulk, who only put on boxer-type guard. All the Avengers, they shouted in unison. Chapter 10, Kokobile Attacks. After Irina's meeting with Issei, in addition to the power that the brown-haired boy demonstrated, they were now looking for clues about Kokobile's whereabouts in addition to facing renegade demons, although some presented that they had been used as experiments since they had been enhanced with gamma radiation. Although they were not strong enough to keep Hulk at bay, they were very annoying. Now Issei, Morgan and Became were in their living room playing dominoes while Irina and Zenobia devoured the entire family pantry, as if their lives depended on it. Issei, if you know that gluttony is a sin, right? He said while placing a token, looking at Irina and Zenobia, who had their cheeks like a squirrel's. Irina and Zenobia blushed from the embarrassment they felt at that moment, but that they didn't take away the fact that they hadn't eaten almost anything for almost a week, so without further ado they continued with their lunch, if they were going to go to hell for their sin of gluttony. At least they were going to leave with a full stomach, and all that under the gaze of Morgan and Became, who were crying in anime style since they had finished the entire pantry, and an Issei who was laughing a little nervously, but in that they were interrupted by a blue flash causing them to leave quickly, seeing how a large barrier was surrounding the Core Academy. At that point, Issei's cell phone started ringing, even though he saw who it was, observing that it was Sona who was calling him. Issei, Sona, now what's going on? He asked seriously while looking at the academy. Sona, Issei, we need you to come here quickly. Kokobile has already appeared and is trying to destroy the academy in order to start a new war. Issei, okay, let's go there, he said, cutting the call. Became, okay, I just have one question. How are we going to get there before the academy is destroyed? Issei, using the fast route, he said with a defiant smile as his hazel eyes changed to emerald green. 2 minutes later, Hulk was seen emerging from the roof of Morgan and his family's house while he had Became, Zenobia and Irina on his back, who screamed at the top of their lungs in fear while they were followed by Morgan, who was wearing his armor. At the academy, the entire Gremry entourage could be seen with various injuries except for Kiba and Kaneko, who barely had a few scratches and their clothes somewhat torn. Kokobile, wow, that was very disappointing. I thought the Gremry heiress would give me some fun, but it turns out your entire clan is a bunch of good-for-nothing idiots, he said, disappointed. The only ones I find amusing are your knight and your rook. Kiba, that's why we train with someone who hits harder than you, he said with a smile. Kaneko, in comparison, yours look like a girl's, she said with a mocking smile, making Kokobile angry. Kokobile, what a pity that this will be the end, he said, creating a large spear of light being seen by Sona's entourage and by Hulk's team, which was just about 10 meters from the barrier. Morgan, we should intervene, she said before being stopped by Hulk. Hulk, not yet, he said seriously. Zenobia, but why? Hulk, Issei says that Kokobile maybe has an AZ up his sleeve, the Green Giant said seriously. Irina, and what are we going to do? Hulk, Morgan, you can divide the power of that spear, he said while looking at the aforementioned. Morgan, of course I can, he said as he began to divide the power of the spear. With the Gremry clan, they saw how Kokabil's spear of light began to decrease in size little by little until it was that of a normal spear, something that baffled everyone but made the fallen angel angry. But then he gave a sinister smile, making everyone have a big chill. Kokabil, it's a good thing I always come with an emergency plan, he said while snapping his fingers. After doing that, several magic circles appeared from which several fallen angels emerged and began to surround the Gremry clan while wielding tridents. All of this was seen by the Citri clan, who only felt helpless. It was true that they hated the Gremry clan for what they did, but what made them feel that way was that they could not protect their territory until a magic communication circle appeared in their ear. Sona, who is it? She asked seriously. Became, Sona, it's me Became, I answered while Sona maintained the barrier. Sona, we need you to open the barrier. Sona, what? Are you crazy? Became, Sona, just do it, at least enough for us to get in. Sona thought about it for a few moments until she decided to open the barrier in different parts, seeing how some figures hidden in the shadows moved to enter, but the figure that caught her attention was one that entered from above that was large. Sona, please take care of yourselves, she said as she proceeded to close the barrier. With the Gremry, they were about to be killed by the fallen angels until a light blue dragon shot appeared in the middle, preventing them from doing so. In the case of Morgan, who had her armor activated, Became also appeared, who with a movement with her sword split 3 fallen angels in half. Then the envoys of the church appeared wearing their combat suits as well as carrying their Excaliburs. All of them positioned themselves in front of the Gremrys while Kiba and Kaneko positioned themselves at their side. Kokabil, seriously, are you the only ones who came to support them? He said mockingly. I still have the advantage in power and number. Zenobia, our big cannon is still missing, she said as she watched something fall in front of Morgan's group. A large curtain appeared, making the fallen feel great curiosity and at the same time fear for the power that was felt there. But then the dust began to disperse little by little until they managed to see our favorite emerald giant standing there, giving them an unfriendly look. Kokabil, well, but it's the boy from the rumors, he said, making everyone pay attention. I heard everything about you, how you were mistreated by your family and the Gremry clan, how your sister almost killed you, the power you got, he said, making the Hyades sisters and the Gremry clan feel terrible, you know. Join me and I'll give you what you want most in the world. You'll even be a god, he said to convince him to join him. Are you still planning to stop me? Hulk, no, stop you. Of course not, he said, causing the Gremry clan and his ex-sisters to freak out, thinking he had convinced him. I'm going to crush you, he shouted as he collided his fist with his palm. Kokabil, what a waste, he said, and then snapped his fingers, causing the fallen angels to begin the attack while Hulk and his group prepared to fight against all of them without an ounce of fear. Chapter 11, The Gamma Golem. Hulk and his team had arrived at the combat zone, preventing Kokabil from killing the Gremry entourage. Now the Green Giant and the Grigori cadre stared at each other while Hulk's team stayed behind him in their combat positions. Kokabil had sent all the fallen angels who had great loyalty to him. Hulk's team, seeing that they were on guard but could see how the fallen angels began to be covered by strange armor. Kokabil, do you like it? These armors are Azazel's creations. It wasn't difficult to steal them, he said while a mocking smile appeared on his face. Morgan, in a circle, he said as the entire team stood together with their backs to each other, take cover. After saying that, all his friends Zenobia, Irina, Kiba, Became and Kaneko began to protect themselves with magic circles, or at least that was with Morgan, Kiba and Kaneko, while Became, Zenobia and Irina covered themselves with shields made by Mikasa. The fallen began to hit the shields with their tridents while Hulk. Well, several fallen angels had thrown themselves against him, and he responded to the attack by ramming them. Another 2 tried to attack him, but Hulk only hit them with his arms, sending them flying. With his team, they were enduring the attacks of the fallen angels until they decided to counterattack by starting to make them retreat. The Gremry clan was really quite impressed by that, since they could see how they coordinated quite well in addition to supporting each other like Kaneko and Zenobia, since they saw how the albino had kicked a fallen one who was going to attack Zenobia from behind. Then Zenobia used her shield to propel her, avoiding an attack from another fallen one, and then pushing that fallen one with the shield. It was impressive. Not even they had that coordination. But then they saw how Hulk was the one who had the most work to crush more fallen angels. But then they saw how Kaneko was knocked down by a Cerberus, and when the hellish dog was about to kill her, Hulk appeared and gave him a powerful blow, destroying his head in the middle as well as knocking him down. "Hulk, Hulk," he said, taking the Cerberus and throwing it at the other two that remained smash. After shouting that, he threw himself against the last Cerberus that was still standing, hitting its jaw, destroying it, and then grabbing it by the shoulders and breaking it in half while letting out a loud roar as everyone looked at him with great shock. "Zenobia, wow, that was the only thing he said when he saw that. Kokobile, what are you waiting for? Kill them," he shouted angrily. Thus the Fallen began their attack again while Hulk's team repelled them and made them retreat as if it cost them nothing. But then Hulk saw how Kokobile tried to escape and he began to follow him while letting his team take care of the Fallen. Hulk followed Kokobile, who had entered the academy, more specifically the basketball muscles. Hulk saw Kokobile in front of him, while a smile adorned his face. "Hulk, end of the road crow, now surrender or do you want to be crushed?" Kokobile, "Ha, you crush me, don't make me laugh. I just ran because I knew you were going to be so stupid to follow me," he said, confusing Hulk. "Now how about you face my greatest creation?" After saying that, loud bangs began to be heard as the ground began to fracture, just as large green flames appeared. Hulk did not understand what was happening until a large hole was created between him and Kokobile, with large green flames coming out while a growl was heard as well as a large imposing figure could be seen coming out of the hole, revealing that it was 2 times larger than the Hulk. With the others, they had already finished defeating all of Kokobile's followers. Now they were resting as well as stretching a little, while the Gremry clan watched them with total shock until they saw how the shield that surrounded them began to fade as well as a magic circle with the symbol of the Issei became present, and then the Issei clan could be seen. "Sona, I'm glad you're okay," she said with a smile. "Morgan, it wasn't easy at all, but we did it in the end." "I knew, and where is Issei?" "Kiba, he went to chase Kokobile. The coward tried to escape and Hulk went after him." "Rias, Hulk?" she asked, joining the conversation. "Kaneko, that's what the big green guy calls himself." "Elizabeth, are you talking about our brothers?" "Akame, ex-brother, correction. I was going to proceed to hit Akame for that reason, but before making the attempt a loud bang was heard and then Hulk was seen being thrown into several trees while a large amount of smoke came out of the place where he flew out. "Hulk, run, get out of here." After shouting that, everyone could see a large black rock creature with green parts, which was approaching Hulk. Everyone didn't understand what that thing was, until Sona saw that it was a golem, but that golem was very different. She didn't understand what had happened to him until she felt his aura, seeing that it was almost identical to Hulk's. There she realized that this golem had been exposed to gamma rays. The great golem ran towards Hulk, giving him a great blow that sent him flying, and then he gave a great roar as he let out his power, terrifying those present to see such an abysmal power that this being gave off.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.